Alright, welcome back. I'm back with a quick little news of the day video here for you guys, and since it's been such a long time since not only my last news video, but my last video in general, there's going to be a lot to talk about today, and in that time there's been a lot going on, and so if I happen to have missed anything, feel free to leave it in the comments down below, and I'll do a follow-up video to this later tonight if there's enough things to talk about. And also, since it's been such a long time, hopefully you guys have all been enjoying the brand new patch 7.31, which came out just a few days ago. I know that there were a lot of people, including myself, that were a little disappointed in the lack of map changes in just the general macro game of Dota, the changes to that. But overall, the individual changes to heroes and item builds has been very refreshing, and I've been having a blast playing it and watching it too. We've had the OGA Dota pit going on in China throughout the past couple days, which is actually just coming to an end. We have our final day of Dota in just a few hours from now, and since it is China time, if you're on the western side of the world, it's quite late. But it's still been a fun watch so far, especially watching these teams try and figure out the new patch and try and figure out what is the best way to beat their opponents. It's been very entertaining. So yeah, hopefully you guys are all enjoying that. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video, which largely revolves around roster changes and new teams being formed, all that kind of stuff. The first roster of which being Alliance, which is actually one I talked about in my last News of the Day video. However, since then, they have made a minor tweak to that roster. Their previous roster, of course, from the last tour, consisting of Nikobaby, Supreme, Lelis, aka Leslau, Aramis, Hanskin, and Coach NGXSEA. Since then, all of the members have left other than Nikobaby and Aramis, who are sticking around on this new stack and heading into the little side tournament that they're going to be playing throughout the next couple of weeks. They had announced that the roster was going to be consisting of Nikobaby, Noob, Symmetrical, Aramis, and Stominen. No coach announced at that point. And then now, since then, they have announced that they've brought in one additional member, one new member that is going to be staying on the team for the second tour. They have replaced Noob with Weehaw, who is finally coming off of his mini career break that he took. Whether or not it was one that he wanted to take or not, he was placed on the inactive side of things when he was on Nigma Galaxy in the last season, and with him expressing his concerns with joining teams that have betting sponsors, since it is against his religion, his own personal beliefs, and with the fact that he didn't exactly end things off before his break on the team with some very impressive performances, it does make sense why it was such a long time for Weehaw to end up joining a team. But it seems that he has now finally found a home, and it's a little strange because Alliance strikes me as a team that would traditionally have some sort of betting sponsors, and I'm pretty sure that they do, and so I'm a little surprised at this joining and all that stuff. Weehaw has announced on his Twitter that this doesn't actually go against any of his beliefs, and he had to make sure that those were intact when joining the team, and so best of luck to them. These guys are going to be in the lower division, so it's going to be interesting to see if they're able to turn things around, get themselves back up to the upper division, but it is going to be quite tough. They have also brought in Loda to coach this new stack, and so we'll see how that goes for Loda as well. And one new roster that had a decently sized shakeup in this offseason that I'm going to be talking about here is the new Talon roster, who of course consisted of Gabby, Makoto, KP, Hyde, and Fly in the previous tour, which was a super stacked roster that a lot of people, including myself, were very excited to watch and very excited to see them make it to the upper division and start making it to majors. And then they ended up being very mediocre in that lower division, getting outshined by a lot of teams like Nigma Galaxy, Polaris, Ragdoll, even Lil Gun, giving them a hard time. And so, of course, we saw the departure of Gabby and Fly just a few weeks ago. Fly still has not joined a team yet. He has been spotted at the boot camp of TSM, which has been a little odd. Not sure what his role is going to be over there if he does end up joining the org. But we also had Gabby leaving, and he joined T1. And since then, Talon has been pretty quiet with what they're going to be doing with their new roster, and they have now announced this new roster, and honestly, this might be garnering as much, if not maybe even a little bit more hype for this team and their expectations, as they are bringing in 23savage to carry them, along with the remaining members of the team that have stuck together since. We have Makoto, KP, and Hyde. KP, again, having a fantastic tour and just has been playing some of his best Dota, which is really saying something for KP, I think, in the past few years here. And they're also bringing in Q and Forev coming into coach specifically, and honestly, again, Talon is just showing that they're very reliably able to bring in a lot of big name players. It's just a matter of getting it to work. And so hopefully this ends up working out for them. Hopefully they have a better tour in this upcoming, better time in this upcoming tour. And maybe we'll see them at the third major of the year. Who knows? But best of luck to them. Now moving on to some small roster changes that we saw, mainly again sticking with Western Europe and Southeast Asia before we move to some of the other regions. Starting things off with one that I'm sure you guys have already all heard of by now. This is a few days old at this point. Saksa joining Tundra. This was pretty huge news. This coming very recently after the kicking of Fada from the team, which was very, very out of the blue and unexpected. I don't think anyone was really foreseeing Fada, of all players on the team, getting a kick, especially with the fact that he was the captain and a big reason as to why the team was looking so dominant at certain points throughout the tour. But it was also revealed later after he was kicked that he was not the initial candidate for this kicking. He was actually initially going to be snaking, and that the reason that they were just trying to kick a player was not because they felt that they were playing at a maybe subpar level or at an inadequate level, or they just felt like the competitiveness wasn't there. No, they were kicking these players just to make space for Saksa to join the team, which is pretty odd and, again, a little shitty. It's a pretty crappy way to be treating your teammates who have been a big part of the reason why you guys been having so much success at this point. And so all I can hope for from this point is that the team starts to maybe improve a little bit, or at least doesn't get worse, because this definitely was something that kind of pissed off a few fans. I think just the sudden kicking of Fada for no real reason. And so if the team starts to struggle even more than they have in this past tour, I could definitely see that being a reason why players, or fans I should say, would start to turn away from Tundra a little bit. So best of luck to the team. And for Fada, he, again, being a real talent, I'm sure he's going to be able to find himself a new stack of players to play with. Hopefully it doesn't end up taking too long, and hopefully he can still be on a team that is going to be able to really highlight his skill and get him to some majors or some lands and stuff like that, because he really is that good. So yeah, we'll see where they both go from here. Now, moving on, last little bit of news from Western Europe. We have a new stack, this coming in through the open qualifiers, I'd imagine, consisting of a lot of players that have been thrown around this DPC for a long time. Very similar to one that we saw in CIS, which was the CIS Rejects. And similarly to that stack, consists of some players from Alliance. Of course, that stack only has SMG previously from Alliance, but this one consists largely of old players from Alliance from the past year. Starting things off, we have Charlie. We then also have Limp, S4, and Hanskin joining this team to play position 2, 3, and 4, and then Peksu to come to play position 5. So this is a stack I'm very much looking forward to. Again, coming in through the open qualifiers, but with a lot of big names like this, they should not have any problem in making it through those open qualifiers. It's just a matter of when and how strong they'll be. I'm very excited to see where they go from here. And hey, again, very similar to some other players I've been talking about on this board, where they're going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder. These are all players that were kicked from Alliance and seen as the reason why Alliance was not making it as far as they should have. And now if they end up joining the lower division, they'll have a chance to play against their former team Alliance, which I think is going to be super spicy. So yeah, best of luck to them. Now moving on to Southeast Asia, where we have some pretty exciting news. We have Ninjaboogie joining Team SMG. This, of course, coming shortly after the departure of Raj from the team. And now SMG is starting to look a lot like the TI9 Mineski that we saw. I think all we need now is KP and Nico Baby to join so that we have that same squad. But we now have Moon, Raging Potato, and Ninjaboogie back all on the same team again. And I'm pretty hyped for this. Now again, Raj, I thought, was doing pretty okay throughout this tour. I thought he was having some of his best Dota throughout this past tour, so it was real unfortunate to see his departure, but best of luck to SMG, and hopefully this ends up being a change that ends up benefiting not only Raj, but also SMG as a team. Also, one other thing to talk about in Southeast Asia, and that is also regarding Weehaw, is that Weehaw is going to be standing in for Enigma Galaxy. And the reason that is in Southeast Asia, not Western Europe, is because unfortunately he will not be rejoining his former squad with Miracle and Kuroki and all them. That would have been kind of fun to see right before he joined off to Alliance. But no, he's going to be filling in for Alacrity on the Southeast Asia Enigma Galaxy in the upcoming Dubai tournament, which is going to be starting, I believe, on March 2nd, so quite soon. And he's going to be filling in for that, so we'll get a little bit of a taste to see just how well Weehaw and just how high his level is right now heading into this upcoming tour. Very exciting news there, and hopefully, again, because Enigma Galaxy SEA is going to be playing with a Standin, hopefully this doesn't end up hindering their performance all too well, and that Alacrity will be back in the roster very shortly. Now moving on to some more regions here. We got some news from CIS, this coming from Navi, who very recently made some changes to their roster with the departure of General as well as their coach. They have now brought in Laise, I believe that's how you pronounce it, L-A-I-S-E. Not sure how to pronounce it quite yet, but he's going to be coming into the team to play offlane for them. And after having a pretty mediocre performance in the last tour, I'm sure that they're hoping this ends up being one that ends up working out for the better. and hopefully they'll be able to be more competitive with some of the best teams in the region here. So good luck to them. Some news coming up from South America, this one also being some older news here. Team Infinity, which if you guys aren't familiar with, is a team coming in from the lower division to the upper division for the next tour after having a very impressive showing in the lower division. They have unfortunately gone through some roster changes, which is pretty shitty, again, especially with how well they were doing in the lower division. We saw the departure of their carry player, Parker, who has since joined SG Esports, who had a terrible tour in the upper division in the previous tour. We also saw the joining of Rises and Michael. Rises is going to be playing position 1 to fill in for Parker. Michael is going to be playing position 4. However, he's marked as a stand-in currently, as they haven't actually gotten rid of their position 4 yet on Infinity, that being Pamplona. So he's just going to be playing as a stand-in. And from what I can tell, they're basically going to be switching positions every now and then, the two of them, and playing with one each and every now and then. I don't know. It's kind of confusing. And one other thing with Infinity is we saw the departure of their coach, Vintage. So best of luck for them. Again, hopefully this doesn't end up being something that hinders their next tour after having such an impressive showing in the lower division in Tour 1. And yeah, we'll see where they go from here. And last little bit of news here, this revolving kind of around the situation, which I'm sure you guys are well aware of right now with the war going on and the invasion going on between Russia and Ukraine, which if you're anywhere near that, please, please, please put your health and safety first. Make sure you guys are safe. I'm sure you don't need to hear that from me, but hopefully you guys are all staying safe. And best of luck to everyone out there. Again, my heart goes out to you. What's going on there is truly terrible. And we heard some news from WePlay, which is, of course, a tournament organizer around the Dota Pro scene. Very notably, they made the Animajor last year, which I'm sure you guys are all familiar with. They've also hosted a few minors throughout the past few years around the Dota Pro scene, and they have terminated all of their cooperation with any sort of partners that were affiliated with the Russian Federation. Well, I don't know exactly how grand of a thing this is going to end up being. I don't actually know how many partners they had from there, but I thought it was something that was quite interesting, and so I thought I would let you guys know. So yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching today's News of the Day video. Again, if I missed anything, feel free to leave it in the comments down below. As always, sources in the description, as well as the Discord. Feel free to join that if you're at all curious. And yeah, again, stay safe if you're anywhere near the conflict going on right now, and hopefully you guys are all right. Thank you guys so much for watching.